everybody, it's Sewing Tuesday and I'm here with all the things ready for us to do number 2 square. And what have we picked out this week? Own choice and dark green. So I've got an assortment of greens. My own choice this week is some of the lovely buttons that Nola sent me in the Happy Mail, together with I've split all those charms up now and I want to put this little dragonfly on, so that's my own choice. But just wanted to show you what I'd gathered together. So my usual linen, quite a neutral colour. I've got a little pack of greens and yellows in silk, so I might use that. I've got some perlé in various colours, a multicolour, a gold, and like a goldy yellowy orange, bit of a mix there. And then I've got some, I think this is DMC, yeah, 6-stranded floss, which you can split down to whatever strands you want. I've done my background ready, so that today I wanted the feature to be the straight stitch. Chocolate cake's ready. It's a bit of a failure this week. It wouldn't rise right, I don't know. So anyway, I've decorated it with the chocolate this morning. So take a piece and you better eat it quickly before you start sewing, because it's melting fast. So David's going to take it away because it's like melting under these lights. And it'll be a soggy mess. Okay then, so hopefully you can see a bit better now. And yeah, so what I thought is just to bear in mind, I mean, everybody's doing their own thing, aren't they, and adding whatever they want, or, you know, messaging me, telling me what their choice is. But what I thought we'd look at today is, and consider for this piece, is how we can use just the plain old running stitch and make it look completely different on, I nearly said on the beige, on the fabric. And there's a really good textile artist called Sue Stone. So if you look up Sue Stone, textile artist, she's amazing. I mean, she's a professional textile artist in a big way. And she runs a course, actually. She does run a course on getting the best out of just doing straight stitching. And what she does is she is very good at stitching portraits or scenes of people, where she builds up the faces and builds up the pictures with straight stitches. So go and check her out. So it's really interesting. She's really interesting to see what she does. So I thought we'd have a look at that today, a play with that. So I want to start, first of all, have you ever considered the different effects you would get from just one strand of this 6-strand DMC floss? I don't know if any of you have ever done it, but it's quite interesting, the effects. So I'm just going to split out one, and you know how difficult it is when it wants to, you have to let it unravel itself. That's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with one. So you get your stuff together, and we'll start stitching and yeah, have a cup of tea and a bit of chocolate cake. But I'm just going to explore the differences, and also the differences you get by using different types of thread. So you might only be doing plain old straight stitch, running stitch, canther, they call it canther in some places, borrow stitch, you know, slow stitch is the latest craze for calling it. Just one stitch, but how many different looks can you get out of using different threads to get different textures, different thicknesses on your page, different looks. So this is just with one stitch. So I'm and it probably one for this would get lost, but it's all an experiment, isn't it, you know? And I think we can see already that that's all right if you want to use, ooh, getting my beads tangled, that really you don't get a lot out of if you're just doing this with one stitch, just doing a straight line. But for example, what if we wanted to fill this in? Let's have a go at this. What if we wanted to fill this little area in, but we don't want it to be thick and overpowering? We just want to do just filling in stitches, and you can do these at various lengths to fill in, bit like seed stitch in a way, except that we don't just want this to be random little different size stitches. We want this little, whoop, I've knocked the light there, bear with me. That'll do. We just want this filling in. Oh, there's Nelson. We haven't heard him for ages, have we? Oh, dear me. Anyway, how y'all doing? Hope you've got all your stash ready to do a bit of stitching today. So I think that this is very nice. This one strand is nice for just filling in a small area like this. But I think if you were just wanting it to, you know, be plain stitch, running stitch, so you could just see the effect, I don't think that on this mixture of materials, one strand is enough. So have a play around with one strand, and even if you do it on a bit of scrap, not your actual square, and see how many different effects you can get. And it may well be that, you know, if you're utilising stitch in a journal, you don't want it to be overpowering. You might want it to be just subtle and filled in. So consider using something like this by splitting up your layers of your stitches. Now I think that's given quite a nice effect. So I'm going to get rid of that now. There's not much happening to talk about. I keep thinking, right, we'll have one of our natters, and the pandemic sort of is, I know we're all trying to escape from it, but we're getting more and more lockdowns again here in the UK. We're not doing so bad at the moment, but it might not be long. So there's nowhere to go, people to see, things to talk about. Right, I've got 2 layers now, so let's have a look, see the effect. I'm going to start again along here and see how the 2 layers. And also the other thing to consider is the direction of your stitches. You know, what direction do you go? Do you keep changing directions to give different patterns? Do you alter the space between your stitches? So you can start off like this at fairly even, and you might just want to just do that you know, if you're meditating and it's just a way of relaxing, perhaps you don't want to be thinking where your stitches are going and how thick they are or whatever. But on other days, if you're wanting to do a specific piece, a specific idea you've got in mind that'll fit in with the journal, then, you know, consider that. So for example, I could start going back the other way, very close in to where, oh, I'm hoping he's put kettle on so we can have a nice cup of tea. Yeah, you can do it very close and do a few rows like that and see what effect that gives. Let's have a look at that. Just keep a certain area, keep going back and forward. Back and forth really, correct English, I think. So you can see we're just doing a little area, a little point of interest on our square, and working very closely with what we've already got. Then we might decide that really we want to do big stitches in this area. So we alter the size of the stitch there. There we go. I'm being a bit quiet today, aren't I? I don't think I've woke up yet, you know. Bigger stitches, but we're going to leave a big gap this time. So let's leave a bigger gap just in this area. So you're building up different textures, different size stitches, and you're not doing anything fancy, you're just using one stitch. Right, let's do, I've already got a little bit of linen on here just to keep the pieces in place. So there we do with that. I don't even think I've got any funny stories to tell you. From over the weekend, we didn't really do all that much, to be honest. Right, so that's using two. I might get another couple more stitches out of that. We'll go down this way, change direction. So now you can split the strands. We've done 1 and 2 strands. We can do 3, 4, 5 and 6, but now I'm going to just do the full 6 of this and see the difference. I mean, I know we all know that thicker the thread, the thicker it's going to look on the page, but you can make it as part of your design. So let's say we're going to do it in small stitches in this little area. Ooh, it's tough, it's tough. Do you know, I think I'm losing my voice. It's lack of talking. Can you believe lack of talking with me? It is true sometimes. Right, so we've got 6 strands now. Apart from it being a bit tougher to get through. And I'm doing small stitches to marry up with the little stitch that we did earlier in this area. You can see that we get a whole different effect. And I have to say, I don't use the thinner strands very often. I think the lowest I generally go is a 3 strands, but I think it could be utilised a lot more doing the thinner stuff. So there we go, doing some smaller stitches. So you can already see you know, we're altering the look of it by putting a different thickness of thread on it. And it might be that you want to do this as a topper for a journal cover, or you're going to join all your squares together to make a nice sewn journal cover. So all different effects that you use will, you know, add to the overall if you use a similar colour scheme. Right, okay, so now I'm going to go down, but I'm going to use quite large stitches. And yeah, let's see. Oh, this backing fabric that's on this piece, quite thick. I put some cotton backing instead of the wadding, and you can tell a difference. Not as soft to sew through. So, just doing massive stitches, just to get a different effect. David's got a kettle on, so if you hang on long enough you'll probably get a cup of tea as well. It's quite sunny here today. It's a nice crisp autumnal morning. And the problem is here in the UK that the sun, the autumn winter sun is very low. It's a bit of a nightmare for driving because it's far lower than it is in the summer months, and you know, it is difficult. Sometimes you get a lot of glare from it. Now I'm liking that. We'll go back up there. And I actually like doing larger stitches with thick cottons, just because I think they stand out nicely. I tend to be a bit of a random stitcher really, more of an abstract person I think, when I've been thinking about our squares and things to do with you. It's not very often on smaller pieces that, like, I would draw a flower and then stitch it or something else. I do like I've got a book in the shop at the moment. It's all poppies that I drew and stitched, but if I'm doing small pieces like this, I tend to be very abstract, just go with the flow, and I don't know, just go in whatever direction. Oh look, my tea's coming. Oh, thank you. It's a bit scummy on top looking, that.
It's the bag.
It's the tea bag.
Yeah. But is it not?
Yeah, it's all right, thank you. Thank you for making it. I can't reach it right over there. You think I'm going to tip it on my work, don't you? You know me, don't you? Hey.
A piece of cake?
No, I don't want a piece of cake, thank you. I haven't whipped cream up yet.
Oh, right.
Hey, you want a piece?
No.
He's only asking because he does really. He does want a piece, really. A little sliver then. You can have a sliver.
Oh, right.
I might have a sliver. Right, so I've had enough of that cotton now. I hope you're enjoying starting yours. I think it's we've got so much going on in the world at the moment, haven't we? And I've sort of, it's taken me 2.5 years really to get used to the pace of being retired, you know. When you've always had a really busy working life and you've always, I'll have a bit of this now, it's always been rush, and towards the end before I retired. It was getting stress, and I found it not increasingly, but I found it very difficult when I first retired, and I'm sure there's those of you out there that can relate to that. I felt like I'd lost a major sense of purpose. My major sense of purpose, in a way, two big things. You sort of lose your sense of purpose of being a mother that's caring and doing and nurturing your children. You're still always there for your children, and you're still wanting to do that, even though they're adults and they've left home. But that's a big sense of purpose that had already sort of, it eases off, and you have a different role as a mother, I think, as they become adults. And then retiring from work. And I found it really, I'm going to start down, no, we'll just in the middle. I found it really hard. But now, and especially with what's been going on and the fact that we had a big lockdown, we were in shielding, David and I, because of health reasons. We were in shielding in this house for 4 months. And apart from me allowed out once a day to take Nelson a walk, that was it, And so your pace had to slow right down. And it made me realise that enjoy that slower pace of life, Enjoy it and make the most of it. Because it makes you realise that I certainly think that, I don't know in other countries, but I think very much here in the UK, it wasn't, we weren't working to live. We were living to work. We were living to work, and I especially saw that working as an occupational health advisor. I had a big, I had some major contracts where I was helping with looking at sickness absence and why people were off sick, and how we could help them back to work or work in some capacity. And it used to be musculoskeletal, used to be the major cause for people being off sick in the workplace. And then over perhaps the last 15 years, it's rapidly been taken over by stress. And although stress is good for you in a small capacity, it helps you achieve things at work. I think there's a point at which it becomes far too much for any of us. And I think we don't take enough time to relax and, have time for things that are important. And I've heard a lot of people say that the lockdown meant that they could spend, especially the fathers, could spend more time with the children. And people started phoning friends again. They weren't just, glued to a computer. People wanted to talk to others. And I think that's been lost over recent years. I think the art of conversation and letter writing and just sending notes to people to say you care about them and you're thinking of them has been taken over by this computer age. And I'm probably sounding like, I used to think, oh dear, when people retirement age used to talk like this years ago, and now I'm doing it. But I think it's helped me embrace retirement, if I'm honest, and to spend time. I can spend time now like this and just sit down and slowly just stitch away and natter to you guys and have my cup of tea. I'm not having to get up with the alarm clock anymore, which is marvellous. Marvellous not getting up with that alarm clock. And I know those of you that still do work, I think it's important with everything that's happened in the world. I think it's important for us to all slow down and find a little bit of me time. And I don't know, I think over years, especially as working mothers, we've always been made, you know, I don't know if it's our own guilt, I think you do, I think you always feel guilty, or whatever, about something or other as a parent. But, oh, I hate it when it does this, look at this. Just have a little bit of me time, even if it's sitting for an hour and doing a bit of stitching like this, and not rush everywhere. And to be honest, I've not missed shopping. I suppose I have shopped, I've still shopped, I've still bought loads of craft stuff online, because you have to, don't you? You have to when you're feeling fed up. But the hustle and bustle of supermarket shopping and all that, because we were in shielding, we had to have everything, you know, we had deliveries, home deliveries, and we're carrying on with that. We found a lovely little fruit and veg man that delivers all lovely fresh vegetables every week in a little old box, like a, you know, a little old box, it's not an old box, but a little box full of stuff, you know, and half of it's still got dirt on it from where it's been picked and what have you. And I've forgotten how lovely vegetables tasted, because I think, and sorry supermarkets or anybody that works in a supermarket and doesn't agree with me, but I think the food that we eat was starting for me to become tasteless. Sorry, slurp of tea. And I don't miss, you know, traipsing around supermarkets and you know what it's like. Screaming kids and stressed people and shoving and pushing. I don't miss that. And I've had screaming kids myself, you know. But now, they're grown up and off my hands, I can't cope with other people's screaming kids. Oh, no. It's like when you have a, like, say you go on they call it date night now, don't they? If you go on a date night with your husband and you go out for a nice meal and a nice chat, and you know, I don't know, there's a load of noise going on and there's kids running around everywhere or whatever. Say you go to a hotel or something, and even though, you know, we've been there, we've done that, we've got the t-shirt, I really can't be doing with it. It's as if to say, oh, we should do something with them children. Let me know if you've got like that, you know. It's I would never say anything or get involved or anything, you know, I'm not that crotchety, but sometimes you think, oh, come out for a bit of peace and quiet. Or especially if you're going on a date night when you have got kids and it's your one night where you want, you know, just the two of you, and you don't want your own kids running around and wanting stuff. Yeah. Perhaps I'm supposed to go and live on a desert island, you know. Grumpy Catherine, Mrs. Grump. Oh, so, you know, I really now have embraced the fact that I'm retired. But the other side of that is that I'm raring to go with wanting to do stuff, you know, or go visit places and a list of things that you want to do. Even in the UK, there's some beautiful parts of Scotland, you know, we'd still like to go and visit and things. And at the minute, it's just frustrating, isn't it? Because we can't. So, you know, we've got to learn to be patient, haven't we, till we can get back to that again. But it's helped me embrace retirement. And I am so pleased, even though, you know, I was contacted to see if I could go back, you know, and work. I couldn't, for health reasons, I couldn't. You know, for all the years of nursing and lifting, the old body's dropping to bits, you know. And I've got that many worn out discs and goodness knows what from heavy lifting over the years, that there's no way I could go back and do anything. But you know, I was glad that for once I didn't, I was at this end of my career, and I was retired, because I think the enormous pressures they've all been under and the marvellous job that they've done, you know. So now I'm thinking, yay, I'm retired. I don't have to, you know, if we have to get up early for it, say we've got a hospital appointment or something like that, and we have to get, not that we stay in bed, you know, it's only early now still, but it's the fact that then you don't sleep all night because we think, oh, we're going to overlay, we're going to miss that hospital appointment. I'm being a bit philosophical today about stuff, aren't I? Now, you see the difference, the different effect. You see the perlé, what I like about the perlé is you can see the twisted effect of the threads, and I think that is a nice effect. I'll just carry on with this little bit. Then I think we will use a little bit of silk and see what effect we get from the silk. I have been a bit disappointed in it. I was expecting... There's two dogs going past. Our lounge is on the front, and we've got a massive window. It's the full size of the lounge, so it's a massive window at the front. And of course, every dog that goes past, he's on neighbourhood watch, is Nelson. I'll have to post a picture. I'll have to put a picture on sometime of him. He's sort of taken to, you know, and he's a reasonable sized dog. He's taken to sort of climbing on top of the sofa so we can look out the window better. Right, I've got a button there. I'm just, yes, before Nelson started making a racket, what was I saying? Yes, now, silk threads are, I don't know, I think they're a bit overrated. That's just me. I think they're a little bit more pricey. And I'm not convinced they do anything great compared to other threads. They feel nice. And perhaps if you're working on silk and use silks, then you do get the effect. But I think if we're doing something rustic like this, I personally don't think that, I feel like it's a waste of the cost. But we'll just do, I'm going to do it here because I think it'll show where this bit of cheesecloth is. And I've chosen a darker green. Still not way dark, is it? But yeah, I think it shows up against the white and having something soft with it. And I'm just going to do a little area of doing the stitches close together, really. And like doing them exactly underneath where the last one, because that's the other thing. You can like alternate, can't you, where you start and end your stitches so that there's more of a brick effect. You see, and that looks quite nice, but you know, I don't think it offers anything that much different. Perhaps it's just a smoother finish, I don't know. It's nice sewing on cheesecloth, but sometimes it gets lost in it, doesn't it? All the bits of threads and things in it, you can get lost inside it. Right, I suppose I've been nattering on now for gone half an hour, So I suppose I better call it a video, haven't I? It's just I'm right enjoying it, you know. I feel as if you're all just sat here and we're all just having a nice sew together, and, you know, group of friends. Missed that. It's a bit solitary where we're having to live at the moment, even though, you know, I'm fortunate that, you know, I've got David's at home. Some people live alone. It must be very lonely times. So I think it's just nice to have a few girlfriends round and have a little bit of a sew. So that's it for Sewing Tuesday this week. I don't know why I'm got to cough again. Excuse me. Thank you very much for joining me. So don't forget, we're using dark green and our own choice today. Hope you get on well with your slow stitching this week. Thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure to have your company. I've enjoyed it. It's been lovely. So take care, all of you. Happy stitching for the rest of Tuesday, and I'll see you on Thursday, where we're going to be doing a little bit of Christmas collage, having a bit of sticky time with Christmas paper. All right then, my lovelies, take care, keep safe. Bye for now.